There's a lot of exciting developments recently around using sparse autoencoders as a way to extract meaningful concepts, basically, that are learned by large language models, GPT-style models. And what we wanted to do is to see, can we actually use these similar ideas to apply that to a protein language model? So ESM is basically a protein language model that's trained over this universe of different protein sequences, right? The idea there is that you can view actually each amino acid sequence of a protein as being like a sentence where the characters or the words are now different residues for the amino acid. And then people would train similar kind of transformers using masking right, on top of those sentences of proteins. And that's shown to be a very powerful approach because similar to how with human language, right, there's a lot of hidden grammars and things with the proteins. And these protein language models like ESM, because they've been trained over evolutionary scale data, they can sort of capture those intrinsic and hidden grammars of proteins right, in its embeddings. And this is where also then starts to diverge a bit from the human models, because the human model, we sort of have a pretty good idea of how to interpret what are the concepts that are learned by a GPT-style human language model, right? I mean, we know the concept like Golden Gate Bridge. You can see other particular neurons in a transformer that corresponds to the Golden Gate Bridge. But where it's sort of fascinating with the protein language model is that there are some concepts that we know. Maybe I know a particular kinds of protein domain. I can see, okay, does that show up somewhere in that protein language model? But I would say actually most of the concepts are probably not known to us, right? There's sort of we don't have a good description about what are these concepts. And this is where I see this interpretation of a protein language model not just being like an exercise in mechanistic interpretability, but actually as a sort of exercise in scientific discovery, because I think there's actually a gold mine of new concepts that are potentially learned by this protein language model, training over these evolutionary scale data that we just do not actually have good human analogs for. And if we can actually go in and look at different layers and use SAEs to tease apart and here are the different new concepts, and then validate those concepts, then they can actually become like a gold mine of new biological insights that the model can teach us.